Hello, welcome back to the channel, or welcome aboard if you're new. Today we're going to play some more SimplePlanes 2. I've had some requests to kind of explain what I'm doing as far as the process I'm going through and what buttons and controls I'm using because the tutorial isn't very clear about it. And I think that now that I've played the game a little bit, I've got a better understanding of how things work. We'll see about improving and adding on to this vehicle like we did in the last episode with the plane and kind of fixing it up to work a bit better. So we're going to work on that today. So where do we start? I think the first thing I want to do is continue fixing this frame a bit. So what I do is if you double click on a part, it'll bring up the menu you can use to adjust the shape of it, so length, width, and height. And then you can use a menu over here and adjust the rise and run. You can pretty much just kind of shape it. See, rise adjusts the tilt a bit, and then run moves it left and right. So you can adjust the angle of it as well. You can also use the hotkeys, which I didn't explain before. So if I have a part selected like this frame, I can press 1, which is the move tool. If I press 2, it's the rotate tool. And then 3 is the translate, which just moves the entire part around, depending on which part you select. Right now I've got the frame selected, so everything moves with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our frame at least, and we're going to click this little menu over here that says part properties. There's also a shortcut for it. You can hit, and this will bring up the properties over here that you can use to change the fuel, whether it's hollow or not. If it's not hollow, you can give it buoyancy, make it glass, so on. So next we're going to do is I'm just going to double click on the end here, and that selects the front part, and then you can use these arrows up here or buttons to move across the different sections. And this is used for sizing the different parts of your piece that you're doing. So the middle, where it selects all of it, it's going to be your length, your rise, and your run. So we're going to move to the forward here. And as you see, we've got a lot more options. So we can individually adjust the height and width of just the front. You can adjust the corners, the sides. You can cut out pieces of it if you want. Say I can cut out the top, and cut out the bottom, left, right, and so on. So another thing you can do is if you're in this first menu, you can adjust the trapezium, which is going to give it a triangular shape, which actually might be kind of cool for this, except then the arms here aren't going to mount right, which is something they don't do currently. So what I want to do is I want to make this a bit more square. There we go, that looks a bit better. And then I want to kind of move this stuff down a bit out of the frame. So I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard, which is the translate tool. And then we can just move this down here a bit, just to kind of get it out of the way. And let's see, we want it kind of centered with the wheels. Okay. Now, let's click over here on our camera and we'll switch to our drivetrain view. And that'll kind of hide the frame so we can adjust the rest of the drivetrain how we want it. Let's try and get these kind of about the same. Okay, we've got actually, that's right, they added this in a more recent update, so it's actually showing you coordinates. So if I select this, we've got our X, Y, and Z. So my Y is at 2. What if I move that to just 2.5 to make it even? And then what I'll do is I'll set these ones also to 2.5. And it should put them all at the same height. Very nice. That is a very good quality of life feature. I like that. Alright, so I am holding, if you hold down right click, it moves your camera around. If you hold down left click, it rotates. I'm sure you probably know that. I think it describes that at least in the tutorial. Let's go ahead and move these down a bit as well, because we are going to be moving the engine down a bit, I think. I want to make a little hole in here for it. So we're going to click up here, go to structure, select bay. Let's go off of our drivetrain view for now while we're doing this bay thing. Let's actually change the color of this so it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing. There we go. Much better. I really wish there was like a snap to center. Okay, so now we've got our little hole in there. We can move that where we want, but right now we're going to adjust it where we can see it. So I'm going to press double click on it here, and what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the height, which will make it longer, and the width. And we're just going to make a little hole for the oil pan to sit in. So let's move that forward now. We can kind of see what size it is. Alright, and then we're going to move this back a little bit. Oh, the transmission isn't going with it. Why not? Alright, let's check. So if I click here and go up to part connections, it's connected to both the engine and the drive shaft, but it's not moving with them. It might be because of this drive shaft. Let's move that for a second and see. Yeah, there we go. So let's just move that back a little bit where we want it, and then we'll reconnect this drive shaft. We'll just drag the nodes to where they belong. There we go. And then we're going to just double click this hole and move it forward a bit. Let's see. Let's make it a little bit taller. I'll just click this menu over here. Sometimes it's easier than trying to click on the part itself when you've got a bunch of stuff kind of cluttered around an area. Nice, so we'll go like that. Now let's see about moving this. It's not moving with it. Let's move that out of the way again. There we go. Now we're going to just kind of set this down in here like so. And now our transmission's clipping through, and that's okay. We are going to make another hole for it, but it's going to be a bit smaller. I'm just going to turn mirroring on so I can get, it'll make two of them, but at least that way I'll know that it's centered. And they're mirrored, so they should be linked. So we'll just do that, and then adjust the height a bit. And then we'll move that back there, like so. And then I'm just going to press H on the keyboard to hide those so you can't see the outline for the holes. There we go. Now we've got a nice little opening for our engine to sit in. Now, the frame is still going to be a problem, so let's select this part if it'll let me and reconnect this again so I don't forget. Alright, there we go. Now let's see about getting this frame a bit better. Press 3 again on the keyboard. We'll move that here for now. Let's go back to our drivetrain view. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Because we need to... Yeah, that's all looking pretty straight, so I think we'll just stick with that for now. Hide that, hide that, hide those holes again. I really don't like how that looks, but we're just going to have to deal with it for now, I think. And we'll work around it later, because I don't want to spend all day just trying to do that one thing. Let's, here, let's look at the cutting feature here. I would do something different, but we'll go with this for now. So let's, we'll just open up the bottom of that a bit. There we go. And now let's put a nose cone on. Jeez. It doesn't need to make it as long as the actual vehicle. I'm just putting it on there so I have a little cover on the front. There we go. Now, let's see. Yeah, we'll leave it on that. You can adjust the roundness of it so it's more pointy or not. All right. Another thing I wanted to look at on this. So, depending on how they have this game programmed in, the way this is set up, since I've had to use these transfer cases for this, is we're going to have 100% of our power coming off of this transmission, right? And then it's going to go into this transfer case here, and it's going to split that power 50-50. So 50% of the power is going to go to these rear wheels, and then the other 50% is going to go to this transfer case, which is going to split it again, which means instead of getting equal power across all our axles, we're getting 50% of our power in this rear axle, and then 25% in the middle and the front. And that's, I don't know if that's going to be a problem in this game, if they've got that sort of thing programmed in or not, but it's definitely something that would have a big effect in real life. So we're going to see if we can do something about that now. And I am hoping what I can do is I can use, I don't think it's going to be in there, these gearboxes, because I should be able to manually adjust the power ratio on this. So the question is, am I going to be able to make this work? So if we attach this to the gearbox, and then, no, that's not going to work, because that's not going to have any effect on it, because the power is going to be going in there anyways. So what we're going to want is we're going to want to, man, that's huge. Let's make that a bit smaller, because it doesn't need to be big. It's just there for power distribution. All right, now, all right, gear ratio. So if I adjust it to 1, that's going to be full, just normal. So what we want, I think, is we want to go to, I can't go to 33. That's kind of annoying. Okay, so we'll go 30%. And then the other 60% is going to come out of here. Well, 70, because I can't do. Actually, you know what? Do I want it pushing or pulling? Because I'm going to be off a little bit on the percentages, just due to the way this only lets me pick by 0.5. So if we put it in the front, it's going to pull the vehicle. Let's put it in the front for now. So we got 30% of our power going to our rear axle and 70 going forward to here. So next, let's go ahead and move this. We will grab another gearbox, stick that on there, double click on it to open it up, make it smaller so it looks a bit better. And then for this gear ratio, we are going to set that down to, so we've got 100% power going through here, so we want, actually, yeah, that should even out. So we'll send half of that power, the remaining power, so we've got 70% going through here. So we're going to send half of that remaining power to, let me attach, please. Thank you. We're going to send, let me open that there. 55, no, we want 50. All right, so we've got 70% of our power left going to here, and we're going to divide that in half again. So we're going to have 35% of the power going to the middle wheels and 35 to the front. And unfortunately, 30 to the back. But I think that'll be okay. I could actually probably put... I could probably even it out with one more gearbox. So that would be 30. And then we had... Oh, man. My brain is not mathing today. Okay, so we've got 30 and then 70. So that would be 35. But we don't want 35. Man, I can't math. Okay. Let's just split it in half right now and see what happens, and then I'll adjust it later depending on how it drives, because I don't want to spend all day working on one thing. So, let's see. All right. Let's actually just take that out here real quick and see how it handles, if it moves at all. I'm going to have to fix that. It's the one thing about this game is the controller options are pretty limited. For some reason right now it's got my throttle and steering bound to one stick. I had it set up before, but it did not want to. Oh, that's right. It's because this is... So, I wish they had different settings for different craft, because right now, to move a vehicle forward, you press forward. To move an aircraft forward, you have to throttle up the engines. Two separate settings. So I've got the left stick on my controller for the throttle. As you can see, throttle's going up and down. And then the right stick I use for steering. But in a car, I can't do that because the throttle doesn't do anything. I have to press forward. So every time I want to switch between, at least as far as I'm aware, every time I want to switch between ground and flying, I have to go into my controls and change the control for pitch forward to left stick. We'll just add it and see if that messes it up too much. And it's still controlling the throttle, but it doesn't matter. There we go. So now I can use my left stick for my throttle. Seems to handle alright so far. Let's go back. Alright, now let's look at our engine, because there's something that can go on here that I haven't put on yet, and that's a supercharger. So we'll give it full power. Why not? Big ol' supercharger on there. Alright, so what do we want to do next? Next, let's see about getting some sort of a body put on here, which is going to be terrible because I am no good at building this kind of stuff. So I want this centered. And then I'm just going to press 3 on the keyboard, move this around to get it adjusted. Open the settings for, let's double click nope. We want to go and adjust each part, and I'm going to make them a bit thinner. So we'll set the front and the back to 5, and then if we add anything onto it, it'll do that automatically. Alright, so now we need to make this a bit wider so it fits. Actually, you know what? Let's just go all the way. We'll go 3. And we'll set that to 3 also. All right. Let's see. Don't mind the overlap. It's stuff's gonna get adjusted and cut out of it, hopefully. So, what was that about? Won't let me adjust it for some reason. Maybe bug, I don't know. It's not letting me drag it at all, that's weird. Alright, what if I'm not sure why it's having trouble. I can move it. Oh, there we go. If I move it back and do it, it works. What is this thing here? Did I mess up my... What is... That was like the... Okay, that's weird. It reattached the nose cone, so... Let's, we'll go through how to fix that, hopefully. So, here we go. We'll go through our part connections. Fuselage is linked to this nose cone. We're just going to get rid of that link. And that way, when we delete that, there we go. Now we can go back to what we were doing, hopefully. So, we've got our little compartment here. Let's make this a bit longer out the front. There we go. And then we want to move this up some. Yeah, about there. And then we need some cutouts. So I'll grab the bay. Make sure mirroring is turned on. And just stick this here. Oh. No, it wanted to drop it somewhere else. We're just going to stick it on the side here for now, so we can see it. Another thing you do is if you have a part selected, you can go to your camera and just click that and it'll center you on the part. Alright, so now that we've got this, let's get it kind of shaped a bit better. So we're going to cut down the height, make it a bit wider. Let's see, and then we'll kind of, no, I want this. Why is it giving me issues? It seems to be linking parts and moving them together, and I don't want it to do that. There we go. I just want to get this down here to get a kind of wheel well. How high up do we want that? That looks all right. Let's get it adjusted a bit better now. A bit more length. And a bit more height. And then we're going to add the depth to get it across. There we go. And now we've got room for travel there. And then we're going to just round off these corners. Oh, it's only wants to round off the top ones. Or I mean all of them. I only want to round off the top ones. So I'll give it a bit of rounding. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alright, then we won't need those for the back, but we can make some fenders or something for them. I feel like maybe that should be... now they're not linked to this, so we're going to have to relink those to it if we want to move it. But let's, what we'll do is we'll stretch this out forward a bit. No, not more height. We just want a bit more width, so we make sure we have enough clearance. Try and get that kind of centered. And give it one more. There we go. No. That's too much. There we go. Alright. And then we can put something on there to dress that up later. Oh, wait. No. I need to relink these again. Really? Fine. So what I'm doing is I click the part, click add connection to manually do this, and you'll see that this is linked because it's mirrored, so it should be okay now. I don't know what I've got them linked to. I think I've got them linked to the frame or something, but as long as they're linked to something when I move this, it'll be fine. Now, this, I think what I want to do is see if a bit of trapezium will work for it. We got 20%, and then we'll move back and do the same there and see what it looks like. Yeah, okay, cool. I like that. And then we need our cab on top. And we are going to adjust the thinness on this as well. We don't want them to be super thick. So we're going to do both sides there. And then we're going to adjust the width to how we want it. Probably match the top of this. What, 2.5? Yeah. Round numbers are easier for me to remember. There we go. Let's just get that up to the front a bit. 1. Okay, and then we will not move it because it's already linked itself to that part. Seems to be a thing now. But that's okay. All right, let's get a seed out so we can get an idea of what our size is going to be like just with the basic size. I know you can resize things, but I don't want to get into that too much. All right, so a couple car seats here. That doesn't look too bad, actually. My gosh. This auto-linking where it's... Before I could, if I clicked this tool, the translate tool, it would let me move just that individual part, but now it's automatically locking it to whatever I connect it to. And I have to disconnect them to move them individually, which is kind of annoying, but can't have everything be perfect. There we go. Now we need a hole. Actually, you know, maybe we can just use the cutout feature for this one. No, because it's wanting to cut out like a slash out of it. So we will use a hole. My angle. And they changed something with how all this works, and it's making it very difficult to work on the parts individually now because they're automatically locking to whatever I attach them to. And they just want to move the whole thing, so I'll have to figure that out. That could just be a skill issue for me. I mean, obviously I'm still learning to play the game myself. trying to think if I want to do it like this or just make an individual box over the engine. I think what we'll do is we'll do that. What if I... Nope, I can't move that because it'll move the entire body. Oh, what a pain. That's okay, we work around it. Let's actually move this down here to about the top of the engine. Actually, you know what? The supercharger can stick up a bit. There we go. And then we just need to move that to... Let's see what 1.35 looks like. Oh, that's not the button I wanted. There we go. Oh, if you select it here, it does it evenly on both sides. If you select one side, it just does that one side. Let's give it a slight tilt back, just for fun. Alright, let's make these big enough that they overlap a bit. No, man, come on, stop auto-linking stuff, please. I'm going to have to check the settings and see if there's a way to disable it. Actually, you know what, let's just look now. No, that's all just controls. I'll deal with it later. If somebody in the comments knows, they can tell me. Alright, let's, no. Okay, that's right. I was trying to adjust these. There we go. And alright. I know it's looking ugly, but we'll get there eventually. Oh yeah, that's definitely what it needs right now. It's going to be kind of a moon rover shape, I guess, but what can you do? Alright, let's get some sort of a dash or something on here. No, stop it with the auto-linking. And like the locking movement. That's the thing. It's the locking the movement, like the individual movement. It's like sometimes I just want to move one thing. Let's hide that part for now. And those holes so they're not in the way. And that way we can have a little bit more sight control in this. Let's see. Oh, nice. It's hitting the cutout. That's perfect. That's actually very good. I like that. No, we don't want to tilt it anymore, I think. This front side needs to be adjusted a bit. It looks pretty ugly. Alright, let's see. Which fuselage is it that's hiding? This one. Okie dokie, let's see. Suppose we want this to go across. Looks ugly now, but it'll be fixed later. Yeah, that's not bad. That'll do for now. I think this needs to go one click further. There we go. Now, window. Oh, it needs to actually have a piece on there for it. All right. Oh, what if we go with another nose cone? I hate to keep using them, but it just seems to be a decent way to get kind of a bit of a shape on it, you know? And now we can, well, let me add the windows to here. Oh, they're probably just not deep enough. No? Okay, so I think I'm going to have to make the holes. See, I haven't done windows yet, so we're learning together on this. We'll do two separate windows. We'll make it look fancy. Oh, we don't want to make them not wider. A little more? Yeah, that looks good. And height, nope. What we want to do is we want to, oh, that Lincoln's getting me, man. And then I'm going to have to go through and relink everything again. That'll be interesting. There we go. I'll move that up a bit. That looks pretty good. Now, okay, so it looks like Windows only want to go on fuselages, not actual. Okay, we can fix that. Let's get. Oh, no. Damn links. I get it, it needs to be linked, but it makes it difficult when I have to constantly go and unlink and relink things just so I can remove a part. There's probably a hotkey for it, but I don't know what it is. Alright, so we'll put a piece of solid fuselage here. And then we'll immediately forget that we need to unlink it so we can actually move it. Alright, here we go. That looks alright. Oh, it's going to be like that, isn't it? I wish I could copy. What is that? 43721. That is not the same. There we go. And then we're just going to make this really short and the same width pretty much. that's about as good as I can get for that. Oh man, that's ugly. But what can you do about it? Make it a little less rounded. Let's see, the bottom's kind of annoying. Just trying to think of how I can adjust this to make it a bit better, but I don't think I can. I mean, obviously you can, it just depends on how much time you want to spend on it, but this is going to be ugly. It's more of just a learning. Why is the window thing just not working? Oh, man. It's got a lot of settings, but even if I set the... Oh. Okay, so it's... Maybe this is too thick. Where am I? I'm missing something. I can't figure out what it was. Yeah, there, the thickness. What if I just set that to 1%? Doesn't seem to make a difference with the windows. Alright, we'll do something different for now until I can figure that out. We'll just have to hide the glass. We'll just leave it like that. I'm done messing with the link thing until I get that figured out. It's like sometimes the window works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll have to figure that one out later also. No, I'm not attaching anything else to that right now. Try and make sure this stuff's all connected now. Alright. Let's see if it's actually linked or if it's all just going to fall apart. Alright, gonna need a different gearing with the supercharger on there. Then eventually I would like to get, the rest of a body and stuff built for this, but as it's obvious, I'm still learning how to play, so. But we figured some stuff out. We hopefully got the gearing pretty close. I just wanted to see the suspension travel and see if it was cutting into the body, and it looks like it's not. It looks like it's doing alright. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll dress it up some with some more fancy stuff later, but that's not too bad. Alright, cool. So, hopefully some of that made some sense. And we learned some things today. Didn't get a whole lot done on the truck, but we did learn a lot about how they've seemingly changed some of the stuff in the game. So I'm going to have to go back through and see if I can figure out why it's automatically locking parts like that. It wasn't doing that before, so either I've changed something or they've changed something, but either way, just going to have to learn to work around it. So if you want to see more Simple Planes, think about giving me a sub. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see anything in specific. I'm happy to try new things or work on things that I already have. So until next time, take care, be safe, and I will see you later.